you know. When your own mentor comes out and says you're the new lead dog at your team, that's a pretty big statement. Kevin Harvick just did exactly that about Shane van Gisbergen at Trackhouse Racing, and it's got people talking. Stick around because this one's got some real numbers behind it. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. So here's the situation at Trackhouse Racing. Ross Chastain has been the face of that team since it was formed back in 2022 when Trackhouse took over Chip Ganassi Racing's Cup Series program. He's carried the number 1 on his Chevrolet Camaro this whole time. He's basically been the de facto number 1 driver at that organization. But here's the thing, Kevin Harvick doesn't see it that way anymore. Speaking on his Happy Hour podcast, Harvick made it clear who he thinks is leading the charge at Trackhouse right now. And it's worth mentioning, Harvick was actually one of Van Gisbergen's mentors when Shane made the jump from supercars over to NASCAR. SVG is the lead dog at Trackhouse, and every time he gets better on these ovals, it just becomes more and more apparent, Harvick said. Let's talk numbers for a second, because they back this up. Van Gisbergen has 2 top 5 finishes this season. Chastain has just 1. On ovals specifically, they're actually tied with 4 top 10 finishes each. But the real separator, Van Gisbergen has 2 wins on road courses this year. And when it comes to the playoff fixture, Van Gisbergen is sitting 14th in points with 5 races left in the regular season, putting him firmly in chase contention. Chastain, on the other hand, is currently 21st, below the cutoff line. Harvick didn't stop at just numbers though. He broke down exactly why he thinks Van Gisbergen has taken this step forward. Shane has extremely high racing IQ. He is a workhorse. He understands the data, but he really understands the data to be able to take himself out on the racetrack and apply it and change the things that he does in the car, Harvick explained. He pointed specifically to the Cup race at North Wilkesboro as an example, where Van Gisbergen ran the bottom of the racetrack, even though that event has traditionally been raced up top. As the race wore on into the night, Harvick noted the field did eventually migrate up to the top of the track. And North Wilkesboro turned out to be a big night for Van Gisbergen. He led 49 laps there. A new personal best on ovals for him. His previous high was just 12 laps led back at Nashville, where he finished 5th. At North Wilkesboro, he also made 2 green flag passes for the lead on Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. The first of those passes actually prompted a radio remark that went viral. Now, it's not just Harvick who's noticed this. Trackhouse Racing team owner Justin Marks spoke to SiriusXM NASCAR Radio about the result too, and you can tell it means a lot to him. It really is the highlight in a period of time for our company where there's just, frankly, not a lot of highlights at the moment. Mark said he also revealed what he told Van Gisbergen right after the race. I told him after the race, I said, I think that's the most impressive piece of work you've put in since you started working for me, Mark said. Marks went on to explain just how difficult that North Wilkesboro run was given Van Gisbergen's limited oval experience, how fast he was thrown into the Cup Series, and how unique the next-gen car is on tracks like that. Which he called fundamentally native to stock car racing in America. Marks also talked about what's at stake for Trackhouse as an organization. We are trying to keep our streak alive of making the playoffs with at least one of our cars every single year. We're not in the win and you're in era anymore, so it's tough on a guy like this to make the playoff, Mark said. He pointed ahead to Iowa, Richmond, and New Hampshire as tracks with some similarities to North Wilkesboro and said Van Gisbergen's confidence is, in his words, through the roof. Now, here's an interesting wrinkle in all of this. Van Gisbergen's 2 best oval results this season actually came about because qualifying got rained out both times. When that happens, the grid gets set by a performance metric. 70% based on the previous week's result and 30% based on points. In both of those rained out situations, Van Gisbergen started inside the top 10. The one exception was Atlanta, where he actually qualified inside the top 10 on merit. Only the second time he's done that all season. And that ties directly into what Harvick sees as the real key for Van Gisbergen going forward. Really, the key for SVG is qualifying. When they qualify at the front on an oval, they perform at the front on the oval all night, Harvick said. He broke it down further, explaining that starting up front means Van Gisbergen doesn't have to fight through the pack later in the run. To me, the key on the ovals for him is 100% qualifying, and that leads to a good day because you don't have to be in the middle of the storm as you go through the afternoon of trying to figure out getting by 15 or 20 cars, Harvick said. Harvick also brought up Charlotte as another example, a bumpy, rough track where Van Gisbergen ran well at the top of the racetrack. And his overall takeaway: every time Van Gisbergen goes back to a track for a second or third time in the Cup car, he applies something new and gets a little bit better. The NASCAR Cup Series continues on July 27th at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so here's the question for you guys. With those numbers, do you agree with Harvick that SVG is now the lead dog at Trackhouse over Chastain? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, and as always, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one right here on NASCAR Nation News.